Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Connect, Share, Prosper. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Chaz Wilson. Hello, Chaz Wilson.
Chris, how are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling like I want to present and I need some help. I need some coaching.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. We're talking about connecting through presentations. Like, how do we give a presentation that really connects?
Yeah, you know, the thing is that everyone's going to have opportunities to present. We all do.
All the time.
Yeah, large groups, doesn't matter. And the interesting thing is sometimes it's a presentation in front of a group where you might have slides or it might be at your chapter, right? You're giving your showcase to your chapter,
right?
Whatever it might be. I get asked to speak often. I speak at events, and I recently spoke at an event, and there was a handful of other speakers. I went sort of middle of the pack of a 2-day event, right? So end of the first day kind of thing. And as I watched, some speakers did a great job, some really struggled. And so I asked myself, what was it that I really enjoyed about some of the speakers and what did I not about some of the others? And so maybe I'll just share a few thoughts, Chris, and that I think are helpful when you're trying to give any kind of a presentation.
Right.
Number one, be you. You got to be you. And when you're trying to be somebody else, it's going to fall flat.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not funny, don't tell a joke. If you're not funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
the
comedians, you know, or you try to rip off a comedian's joke and it doesn't come out the same way. It's kind of like, well, I guess you had to be there. It wasn't that funny. So you gotta be mindful of that. So be you. That's where the authenticity comes through. And if you're authentic, people will connect with that. That's number one. Number two, be prepared, man. We saw somebody there, my team was there, who had like this note. It wasn't even a notebook. It was like 5 stapled pages, you know, and they're up on the stage. Okay, so here's the 10 things you need to do. And then it's like, you know, they flip number 1. And I'm thinking, do you even know the 10?
Right.
Like, it makes me feel like these are just something you printed off the internet and you're sharing with me. Like, how committed to these 10 are you? If you don't know them off the top of your head. And if you can't remember 10, you probably should only tell me 3 if you can remember those.
That's a great point, by the way. Sorry, just on that, like less is more sometimes. Like, I would rather that you do 3 without notes where you're fumbling through the notes than 10 trying to give me extra value with 10 and you don't remember where you are in your presentation.
It was clunky, right? It's just nothing but clunky. And so here comes the point of this. And I think this is probably the biggest thing of all. I think presenters try to convince you that what they're telling you is right. The listener only wants to know you believe what you're saying. If I believe, Chris, that you're teaching me that, say, podcasts are the only way to grow my business, but I can feel your passion and your commitment to that message, that's where I connect with you right now. There's other things you can do, like you can tell stories that relate to me or I can relate to that help that. But when you're trying to convince me to believe it, it's different than when I can just feel you believe it. I can come along that journey with you.
Yeah. I feel like, so back to your point about preparation, part of the preparation is accessing that conviction, right? Like, before you ever go up, like, why do you even care about these 3 points or 10 points? Like, so what? That's the question I was like, so what? Who cares? Like, that's your thing. So what? And you've got to come back at me with a real convicted, so what? Like, this is why this matters. And you better pull your head out because this is going to impact. If you don't listen to me, then you have problems. Yeah. And you got to get that before you ever stand in front of the room.
And so here's a great thing, right? When I tell stories, I have a couple of go-to stories that I use for these certain points I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
And so throughout this hour presentation, I told 6 key stories. And I would say, depending on who you are in the audience, but I would say 3 of those were humorous, right? They were funny, kind of make you laugh. You go, yeah, that sounds like me. I would have done the same thing, you know, that kind of self-deprecating, kind of like, yep, I screwed up. Here's how I did it. But here's what I learned from it. And here's why I want to save you from that same mistake, kind of thing. And then I would say I have 2 stories that are kind of tug at your heartstring, like really make you reflect at the important things. And then I have 1 story of like success. Okay, so as I share these stories, I'm taking you on a journey. Now, when I tell a story, I don't just dictate the story. See, this is where the skill comes in and how you connect with the audience. You have to tell them the story as if they're reliving it with you. Right? So, you know, this is why I think you're so masterful at this, Chris, because I don't think you just tell a story. I think you relive the story. I think you're able to help me visualize and go, man, I could have been right there with you.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is often people want to tell me the story as if they're dictating it through like a narration,
right,
versus describing it to me. So those are a couple key pieces. I know I'm kind of all over the place with that, but those are the key pieces when you're presenting, and understanding that. One last one I had. Don't worry too much about visual feedback you're getting. Because, and I'll tell you why. So I learned this one time in a very poor way. I was teaching a class.
Yeah.
And anyway, there was a gentleman in the audience who was just giving me that like total stink face. Like he could care less. I was feeling like he could have wanted to be anywhere else in the world but in that room.
Right. Yeah.
And I said something, I don't recall to this day, it was a number of years ago. I said something kind of like, listen, if you don't want to be here, you're free, feel free to.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can say, I said it. And he's like, no, it's fine. It's just, my father passed away last week, and I was just thinking, you said something that made me think of it. And so like he was really reflecting on that. Wow. I felt like the dumbest, biggest loser ever.
Painful.
Right. So you don't know. Some people are very reflective and their faces just don't show that, or whatever it might be. So one thing that can really throw you off is if you're looking for all that visual feedback, you can really misread that. So be careful.
Yeah. I feel like too, this could be multiple episodes, but I feel like there's like, I like it when people are genuine.
Yes.
But there's a line, right? Like I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need you to be rehearsed. What I really connect with is when somebody I feel like they're talking to me, not speaking at me, right? But the flip side of that is also, I don't need you to deprecate yourself where you're like, this is my first time. I'm not really good at this. Hang on, I'll get there. Like, don't give me all the commentary. Like, just a hack, just a trick. If you could just filter, just stop saying that stuff and just be with me. That would go a long way in creating connection with the audience, is just filtering out all the, deprecating thoughts.
I'm glad you said it, and I almost forgot it because I say that so much. It's one of those like I kind of forgot because I say it so much, like with my team and when I'm training all the time. I'm like, don't stand up and tell people you're not a good speaker.
Right.
I immediately go, I don't want to listen to you. Why am I here? Why am I giving you 10 minutes of my life or whatever it is?
Right.
Or to your point, like I've even had people who said, I just remembered this morning I was supposed to give this presentation or this showcase in my chapter, and so I'm not really prepared. Why would you even say that?
Right. Yeah.
And in what way does that benefit you as a presenter in any way? None.
Yeah. None.
So
None. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know what you were going to say or not going to say. So do your best to compose your thoughts in the moment and just take us to, and if you forgot something, you're like, I would actually be okay with, I forgot what I wanted to say right there, but it doesn't matter because this is what I really want to tell you. And you'd move right past it to the next thing. Like that's the kind of realness I'm okay with. But if it's like, I forgot what I was going to say. Let's see. What was I going to say? Shoot, I'm so stupid. I should have practiced this more.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But anyway.
Yeah, so I think there's several key nuggets there, right?
Yeah.
Be genuine, be yourself, but don't overdo the like. You don't deprecate yourself. You don't put yourself down so much that you just are like, who's going to want to listen to you?
Right.
Right. There's being authentic, and then there's just being like you've put yourself in you're positioning yourself not in a position of authority. Right. Yep. People the reason to listen. To. And it's those simple things. Again, there's some language things you can do when you're there, like, I'm so excited to speak to you, or versus I'm so excited to be with you. Mm-hmm. It's just little things like that you learn over time to do to connect to the audience. I love, this is a little hack too as well. I love to visit with people in the audience before, if I can at all.
Yes, that's great. Yeah.
One of the ways I'll do is I'll say, if I'm using an example, I'll say, and Chris in the back, or so-and-so, you like, use those two names as an example. People love that you now know people in the audience. If it's an audience you're not typically speaking in front of. So those are just small, simple things. And I know our members, Chris, sorry to cut you there, but our members often get off opportunities, whether it be chambers or different organizations, reach out to them and say, hey, would you come present something about networking or business or your business or whatever it is? Mm-hmm. And they'll reach out, or I'll talk to them and say, how did it go? And they're like, man, I really struggled with it. It's not like my chapter where they know me. And I said, no, because they have connection with you. You have to go build it cold with them. Yep. And that's a challenge.
It's so good. I'll do that too. Before, while people are coming into a room, I'll go talk to them because I want the connection. That always makes it easier for me. And if I can't get that first, then I'll do things like the hacks. I'll be like, how many of you, and I'll actually raise my hand so that they raise their hand. How many of you have been in business for over 5 years? Anything that creates the interaction, because I know they're with me. Just like you're talking about, like just creating connection as a hack.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it gets them with you right away. You need to get them with you. And I think that's the key. I wrote down something with our team to this group. And there was 2 people in particular that kept saying, so if you do this, just please be careful. They said, well, here's what you need to do. And you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do this. And before you get done, you feel like a 2-year-old, like, what do you mean I need to do all this stuff? Mm-hmm. And especially when you're reading it off a paper, like it's not inherently yours, and I need to do it. So be cautious of how you give direction.
That's good.
When you're teaching.
Yeah. So good. And then maybe if I can just add at the end, like, if, go do it again and again and again. Like some of this is repetition and practice. Like the more you practice, the better you get. So, if you're going to do one presentation a year, it's, I don't care how much you prepare, it's still not going to replicate the actual thing. So you just got to do a lot of it.
And you should plan your end first.
Oh,
how do you want to end it? Because so many people plan it, and then you can tell, right? You watch it and they go, how are they going to wrap this? Or they just keep going because they don't know how to end it. They did a really good job teaching you, and then now it's trailing off because they can't figure out how to end it. So come up with your end. How are you going to, bam, right out of the end this thing?
Yeah.
Drop the hammer and then walk away. If you have that, then you can back out of that really easily.
Yeah. So good. Just like we can keep going, but because all the ideas keep coming out. I love it. But that's enough for now. Like, I think you guys listening to this can go to work on, re-listen to that and go back and audit like your last time you presented. What things did you do well? And what things, based on what we kind of said today, could you improve and try next time for sure? So as if people want to jump into a chapter at Master Networks or start their own chapter, where do they go?
Well, so this is why it's so important, right? Because we practice this stuff every week at our Master Networks chapters, whether it be 1 minute, whether it be 10 minutes, given the different opportunities. So go to masternetworks.com, check us out, come visit a chapter, get an opportunity to stand up and just start where you are. If you're worried about, man, I don't speak a lot, that's okay. Yeah. Start where you are, and that's the beauty of Master Networks. So come check us out at masternetworks.com.
Awesome. Guys, thanks for your time today. Catch you next time. See you.
Bye, Chris.